Welcome back to the Disaster Trouser series. I made disaster trousers and I have to fix them. This series part, I don't even know what it is, but I'm calling it, Please Don't Make Me Unpick My Belt. Please, I'm tired. How can I fix it without unpicking it? And how does a D-ring belt buckle work? Well, I started my project by doing all the doodahs, so the pockets, the belt loops. And here I am doing that nice quick method of doing a really long chain, putting it inside the fold of my belt to turn it out. Okay, nice quick easy way of doing it. And now my belt tube isn't quite long enough, so I've had to join a few sections together. But this is just me pulling that chain out and turning the belt out the right way. And as you can see, it's turned out quite well. I've got a belt happening, and if you want all of this taught to you, of course you can go to that video. I'll put it in the top right, and that is the full pockets plus everything that you need for any shorts or trousers. So I'm going through this belt, and did you actually see it? Did you see the problem? Because I actually didn't. So I went straight along to the top stitching. And now this is a really thick material. So there's quite a bit of work in just easing the sewing machine through these corners where there's lots of folds of material and getting it happily through there. Got the end done. Going to turn the corner, and then I've got this really super long top stitching to do my belt. Da 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 da. Here we go. We're sewing along. And ha ha ha. What would you do? This is the belt sewn inside out. You see that sticking out? That should be on the inside. I couldn't face unpicking all of that work, so I'm just going ahead and I am doing the other side with a symmetrical bit of top stitching. So there's my belt. But remember, I've got this awful inside out bit of join. What am I going to do? Because I cannot face unpicking. Would you do the unpicking? So anyway, I've decided to do a bit of creativity ghetto around this problem, and I've made myself a very low thickness, this was hard, a low thickness belt tube. Now you can see how thick that material was because some of the stitches have actually kind of skipped on that side. So I'm choosing that side to be the wrong side. And I'm going to cover it over with this quasi belt loop. And I'll definitely have a more Frankenstein-y type of side. But guess what? Belts have two sides to them. So there will be a pristine side, and I'll have that visible to the world. In order to do this, I just need to sew it onto my belt. And it is thick, so it's kind of hard for me to hold that belt, let's call it a belt loop, the cover, flush to the belt because it doesn't really want to bend. It's not very malleable. But I'm doing the best I can, and all I'm doing at this stage, I'm just catching a little bite of the top piece of the belt, not going through to the other side, and then catching the cover that I'm sewing on. It's not, a special stitch. I'm just looking for security, but I am making sure I don't go through the belt because this belt has elasticity to it and I want to preserve that. So catching just one side means I will get a little bit more elasticity without busting a stitch. Okay, so I'm going to fold that other edge under and join that up. I will try to make it neat, but it's, it will be what it will be. At this stage, all I want is function. I want this to be stuck on my belt, not budging. And I want it to be as flush as I can get it, even though this is quite a thick material and I've got malleability challenges. So once I get through all of that joining, I'm going to just stitch it along as I starting here, stitch it along the edges of that lining piece, so that quasi belt loop, making sure that it is catching the belt so it won't move. And I do that on both sides. Catch it, hold it. Don't go through the 2 layers of the belt. Now, once that's, fairly good, you will have to do, a few passes of this to satisfy you that it's not going to budge. Be patient with yourself. And I did actually stitch around the corners as well. So along the lip of the belt, the edge of the belt, I turned the corner as well. When it came to the back, that's what it looks like. I told you it would be a bit Frankenstein-y, okay? But when it comes to the front, it's looking really nice, but we still don't want that stuff to move and flip over and show that oopsie bit. So I'm going to now use a slip stitch, or what I sometimes call an invisible stitch, and I do have another whole tutorial on how to do that. It's useful for any type of gap closures that you need. So I will put that in the top corner as well. Essentially, we're taking a little bite of the top fabric, and then directly underneath that, a little bite of the bottom fabric, and we don't progress in great leaps and bounds. We are always taking those little bites, and of course my thread isn't particularly playing ball with me. Just get those thread inconsistency knotting potentials out. It is important you don't go and do great big steps between your stitches. You want to keep them close. You want to keep them vertically. The thing that you're closing, the one on top, has to be with a stitch directly underneath it. And that is how you close it up without bunching it up. When you've finally done that on both sides, this is what it's going to look like. You can see I've preserved the elasticity, and that's something I wanted in my belt. Let's have a look at the back. Oh, well, there's the front for you, nice and close up. It's not looking too bad at all. Yeah, the back, we ain't putting that to the world's view. Okay, so I am going to just have this beautiful front. Let's pretend it's beautiful. And now we get to the actual D-ring part of the belt. I found this a bit of a challenge. So this is where I went different to my other self-fabric tie belt. I used a D-ring. You can put any belt buckle you want on a belt. I'm using a D-ring. Now, we loop the basics part here and affix it, okay, to that prong. Then we've got the whole belt that goes around you, and we have to tie our belt up. It goes through both of the loops, and then it goes back over the top one and through the bottom one. That's how a D-ring operates, except, yeah, that's not working for me. It's not tugging, it's not right. So sometimes these can be a little tricky as well. You have to flip the rings so that the long ring is lying underneath and the short ring is lying on top. So then we can thread it through both and then back under the bottom ring, and that looks like a D-ring. So that's how it turned out. I used a brass one. You can see, I hope, the quasi little cover there, sitting just there, and it's pretty well disguised. So my cover up, I think, worked. Now, I didn't fix my D-ring belt closure here, close to it, because I had so much length to my belt, and I really couldn't face shortening it and doing the proper stitching, unpicking and all that. So I've just put it on my body, made it tight, and I'm going to go ahead and close it at the sufficient tightness for my body, which is somewhere near my hip. I'm not going to demand perfection from myself. I am tired. So, do we need perfection? Not always. Probably if I didn't point this out to you, you wouldn't even really notice. And I'm just taking a second pass because I want functionality. I want it to be secure. So that's all I've done to secure my belt. And there we have it. Can you see the little coverage bit? There it is. Okay, it's hiding there, just looking like it's part of the aesthetic design. I think it worked quite well. And the back part, the ugly part, never flips up. Okay, it just sits there with the nice world presenting side to the world. So phew, no unpicking needed, mission achieved. I wasn't even thinking that you could probably decorate it with some studs if you wanted to, but I'm happy with it. I think it's nice and simple and flowing nicely with the design. Join us next time when we are looking at how to sew very thick material to make your belt loops without your machine jamming and with some happy sewing. See you next time.